With Revit 2021, it appears that they've organized the way that they load families and make families accessible in the software. It was something I really hadn't completely anticipated at the beginning of the course. So I want to take a few minutes to try and clear things up, help us be better organized about where we find our family elements. And by family elements, I mean things like windows and doors and templates and other objects that we're going to bring into the Revit project file. The project file is the main place that we will be working on. That's where we did our M1 project. It's where all of the elements come together in what's called the BIM model. So I wanted to start with, let me just shrink me down here a minute. I wanted to start with the organization at the file level, at the kind of Windows level of the environment or working environment. So here I have, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. I keep moving the wrong element. Here I am in File Explorer, and I want to actually preset this a minute. I'm going to take the hidden items off. And where we would normally find our software is usually typically on our C drive. So if you have a laptop and you've installed the software, and this is the same if you're using a lab computer also, typically your C drive is where most of your program files are stored. It's also a place that you would most likely not store unless your own personal computer, your own project files. You'd share those on a shared drive. In this case, as you can see here, I have a OneDrive over here, which is where I store my school stuff. But that's kind of getting beyond the point. That's where we store our files if we're on a shared computer. That allows us to have access to them wherever we go. And I should really cover that in a whole other subject. But anyway, back to the matters at hand, finding family elements inside of Revit. I'm going to go to the Windows C drive, and I'm looking for those library elements, and for anyone who had no idea how to get there, the navigation to it would be extremely difficult, especially because certain files are hidden. So if you go through this navigation tab up here and go to View, there's an icon or there's a checkbox that will allow you to show hidden files. The files that we need to get at are actually hidden from our view unless this is selected. And they're in the program file. They're in the program data file. Now up here, this is the what's called breadcrumb navigation. So what it's saying is I'm looking, what's in this window is on this PC in the Windows C drive, and I'm now going to click into program data. You'll notice that that extends out to program data. I'm going to scroll down here and look for the item I want. And I'm thinking it's Autodesk. So I'm going to click into Autodesk. That's where all of the program for Autodesk is stored. And this is where it actually becomes even a little bit more confusing. It seems like there's so many places where stuff could be stored, especially this Revit file. If I was to click into it, you'll notice we're not seeing very much. The place that we really want to go to is to Revit 2021. So I have a bunch of different versions of Revit on the computer, but RVT stands for Revit 2021. It tells you what those folders are that are inside of it also. So I'm going to click into that. And once again, more folders, more confusion. But typically what we want to go to is our libraries. Family templates are, we can go into there. They're things that we would use in, I guess, more advanced subject matter. We'll get into putting things like railing systems in, balusters, specific special custom items that we'll actually do some building ourselves. They're in the family template. But for our coursework to start off with, most of the library items that we want, our family elements, are in the folder called libraries. So I'll go ahead and select that. And now you'll notice we're PC, Windows, Program Data, Autodesk, Revit 2021, and now we're finally into the Libraries folder. And once again, another tricky thing to navigate through, the difference between English and English Imperial. I'll just cut it a little bit shorter and say we want to go into English Imperial. Imperial means units of feet and inches. This other one has very little content in it. So I'm going to click into this. And now we've hit our pot of gold, so to speak. we're into all of the items that we would want to insert into one of our projects or typical projects. For instance, I can click into Windows now, and here are all our windows. Now, I've shown you how to do this out at the project level or out at the Windows level, and I want to go back into the program now and show you how to do exactly the same thing, only a little less complicated because they'll already have you in the program data, into Autodesk, into all of these things. But this is where we can find our items. This is also where we can add items that we want to physically place into our library system. So I'm going to pull this out of the way for a moment. And now we're in our Revit environment. And I'm noticing I'm a little bit cropped funny here. Fix that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a wall. I'm going to go to Architecture, Wall. We'll just draw a generic wall. And I want to now insert, let's say, that custom door that we've been having problems with M1. So I'm going to go to Insert to load it in. And I'm going to go to Load Family. And now I'm going to show you how it might look if, in fact, you had this setting wrong. So here we are. The first thing to notice is that we have this look in, where to look for it. And I want you to see that this is very similar to what we just went through. We have Windows, Program Data, Autodesk, Revit 2021, Libraries, English Imperial, Doors, and then Commercial Doors. So one of the problems that we've had is that many times it will show up as showing just structural precast. And so you can see right now why structural precast is just showing is because we are in just the English units. So if I go down here, back to Libraries, and then I click into English Imperial, I now have my full assortment of library items. And then we can go to, I believe that was a door we wanted to grab, and it's a commercial door. It was a single light passage door, but a full light. Okay, that means a full pane of glass in the door, light being the glazing. So I'll go ahead and open that, and we obviously have to pick which specific size we want. And I'll go ahead and insert it. Okay, so there we have our door. Now, Revit gives us some new features with this idea of being able to load in family elements. With that, if you go to Insert, you can go to Get Autodesk Content. This is the problem that we've been having with people not having any content available on their computer. So if you go to Get Autodesk Content, it will take you to a web page. And if you scroll down here, the templates for the family templates and for the Imperial libraries are both available. So these are the two that you would want to download onto your computer. Now, alternately, Autodesk has provided a new way to get family elements, and that's to load Autodesk family elements from the cloud. That's the cloud indicator there. So this is a much more dynamic way to find resources. So you can almost not have the data on your computer. You could find it out globally, something I didn't quite realize, and that could have really simplified some of the help I was giving you, and I apologize for that. So let's find doors now. And we want to go into those commercial doors because we're not going to see the door style that we well, actually there it is sitting out there. But let's go into commercial anyway because there's some other doors available in there. And let's go ahead and pick out the 2-light one right now. And we'll just go through the methods of getting it loaded in. I'll click load. Once again, pick a size. And then we'll go to architecture, door. And it's already been the one that was last loaded, so we can now place it. We're all set. And let's try that with another item. Let's go ahead now just to see its functionality. We're going to go to Insert, Autodesk Family, We've got to reset the filters so we can get back to the main area. And I'll pick out a window. I was kind of intrigued when I went through this the first time. They've got all the nice thing about going to the selection this way, as opposed to having it loaded on the computer, is a much larger, a visual selection of what you might want to pick out. And I'm looking for this one here. Where'd it go? A window awning, because I just thought it had a nice arrangement of glazing systems. And we'll go to window. That'll show up. And we'll place it. Now we have a window in our mock-up wall. So I hope this is useful for clearing up that idea of how to bring in family elements to doors and windows that we're going to need in our document. To basically understand that you can either have them resident on your computer, or as it appears now, by using the Insert tab and load an Autodesk family from the cloud, which means up in the internet. You'll really be able to grab anything just about any time you need it, and hopefully with minimum problems.